Hashtag flash marriage CEO. Please let go of your ex-husband. Hashtag chapter 1. The wedding day turns into a farce. In Shanghai City, Phoenix Hotel, a simple Western-style wedding is about to begin. Lin Shuiyao, wearing a white wedding dress, clutched her mobile phone tightly in her hand and looked out the door several times, her pretty face full of anxiety and anticipation. She pressed the familiar number again, but still no one answered. The wedding officiant came over and reminded, "Miss, it's almost an auspicious time. Isn't the groom here yet?" Listening to the countless questions, Lin Shuiao's mood became even worse, and she responded dryly, "It's Monday, you know. There's a traffic jam." The faint sympathy on the MC's face made her feel even more uncomfortable. Is there any wedding banquet where the groom can't even find anyone? After a moment, a figure squeezed in from the revolving door, with surging anger on his face, and whispered, "Shuiyao, is the name of the beast you are going to marry today Gu Zixuan?" Lin Shuiyao was stunned for a moment and said in confusion, "Jing'e, don't talk about my husband like that. Husband? What the hell? Didn't you know that he was holding a wedding in another hotel across the street?" Lin Jing'e had anger and pity on her face and deliberately lowered her voice. Lin Shuiyao seemed stunned by the words and was stunned for a moment before coughing dryly. "You? Who are you talking about?" Lin Jing'e was so angry that she suppressed her trembling and said, "Two bitches are having a wedding in the hotel next door. Zhou Yutong, why don't you know? That's her cousin, her immediate boss." Lin Shuiyao staggered. "No, impossible." "How is it impossible? Your 7 aunts and 8 aunts are all at her place and, oh, don't run, slow down." Lin Shuiyao had already rushed out regardless. She didn't want to and couldn't believe her words, but they kept lingering in her ears, oppressing her and making her head hurt. In the hotel lobby across the street, a huge wedding sign was displayed. Congratulations to the newlyweds Gu Zixuan and Zhou Yutong on their wedding. The wedding photos of 2 familiar people and the scene of a sweet embrace made it impossible for her to deceive herself. In a hurry, she rushed to the wedding hall. Bang! She pushed open the golden door of the banquet hall. At this moment, a wedding symphony was playing inside, and the bride and groom were exchanging rings and preparing to kiss. Next to them, relatives and friends stood up and clapped, with eyes full of envy and blessings. Lin Shuiyao held the door open. Her embarrassed expression and messy wedding dress instantly attracted the attention of the guests around her. The wedding suddenly came to a standstill. Except for the music playing, there was no sound. "It's really the Zhou Yutong, Gu Zixuan. Why did you do this to me?" Lin Shuiyao stared at Gu Zixuan in disbelief, as if struck by lightning. Instead of seeing any guilt on his face, she was filled with careless malice. "Cousin is here?" Zhou Yutong, wearing a long white dress, walked over with an arrogant look. "Xiao Xue, I have always regarded you as my sister, and my love has always been Yutong. Alas, I can't bear to hurt you. I'm really sorry for not telling you the truth." A familiar voice sounded, but the content and tone were so unfamiliar. "That's not right. Even the day before yesterday, he still kissed her ring fingers so tenderly." "But why? Today he held Zhou Yutong's arm tenderly." Lin Shuiao's heart felt an uncontrollable throbbing pain, and she gritted her teeth and said, "Sister? How can you say that? Do you think you would hug your sister and kiss her?" Crack. She was slapped hard in the face. Lin Shuiyao was stunned. "Bitch!" Jealousy flashed across Zhou Yutong's face, and she hugged Gu Zixuan. "What? You seduced my husband in front of me? How shameless!" "What?" Lin Shuiyao looked at Gu Zixuan in shock, and was forced to take a step back by the two people's condescending attitude. You. Zhou Yutong kissed Gu Zixuan's face and said maliciously, "A woman like you who is delirious, trying to steal her brother-in-law, and has a corrupt character. If it weren't for the sake of family relationship, you would have been fired by Jiaxing Design." Gu Zixuan kissed her lovingly. "My dear, you're just too soft-hearted." After that, he supported Zhou Yutong and slowly turned around and stepped onto the wedding stage again. Lin Shuiyao looked at the shameless backs of the two people in disbelief, her whole body trembling with anger. How could she be willing to be humiliated like this? "Gu Zixuan." Lin Shuiyao chased after him a few steps and shouted, "Are you really shameless for confusing right and wrong like this?" Hashtag chapter 2 The Scumbag's retribution comes so quickly. Gu Zixuan did not look back, but Zhou Yutong threw a box on the ground. "The things you left with my husband are returned to you." The red box fell to the ground and opened with a snap. 2 silver-white rings fell out of it, and 1 and 2 rolled on the ground. Lin Shuiyao looked at DUI Jeb blankly. The scene of happily choosing a ring half a year ago flashed through my mind. She obviously didn't want to cry. She obviously didn't want to show any cowardice, but 1 or 2 tears fell to the floor. She didn't understand why Gu Zixuan, whom she had been dating for 3 years, suddenly became indifferent to her, and why she suddenly married her cousin. She wanted to chase him and ask for details, but at this moment, several bodyguards in black came over and stood directly in front of her. "Miss, please don't make things difficult for us." Lin Shuiyao looked at it blankly, suddenly feeling as if she had fallen into the biggest joke. What should have been the happiest moment in life turned into hell in an instant. Enduring the dull pain in her heart, Lin Shuiyao staggered outside without looking at the mocking eyes of the people around her. Lowering her head, she collided with the oncoming person, A jade pendant and a silver pair of rings fell to the ground at the same time and rolled slowly in front of the man's long legs. Lin Shuiao seemed not to notice at all and continued walking outside like a zombie. However, the man who was hit glanced at Lin Shuiao. He looked like a person. His eyes were dazed for a moment. Just when he was about to go over and stop her, a woman wearing 9-centimeter high heels ran over in front of her with a smile on her face. Brother Chen, how can you be so cruel? Did you just give up on our relationship for so many years? What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? The woman's shrill voice sounded. This voice seemed to express Lin Shuiao's inner monologue and had a subtle resonance. She paused and looked over there from the corner of her eyes. You have been abroad for 9 years, and I have been waiting for you for 9 full years. The first thing you did when you returned home was to break off your engagement with me. Do you still have a conscience? Do you know that I am pregnant? The woman shouted. Lin Shuiao suddenly felt sympathy and looked at the hero with a condemning look, but saw that his face was calm and his eyes even flashed with disdain. What a scumbag. Do you want our child to suffer from shame before he is born? The woman began to cry. The male protagonist still had a calm look on his face. Not even a word of comfort came out of his mouth. If it were normal, Lin Shuiao, who didn't like to cause trouble, might have posted a Weibo post in sympathy and left. But today, she couldn't bear it anymore. A surge of anger and courage made her stand up. Why are you like this? You are not responsible when you get into bed. You don't love your own child. You actually made the mother of your child squat on the ground and cry during pregnancy. Do you know that this is very harmful to your body? You deserve to be like this. You will definitely have no future in your life. There was silence all around, and everyone looked over. What are you looking at? Don't think you can mess with people just because you have a good face. A scumbag will always be a scumbag. She ran over and helped the woman. Sister, don't cry. Although this man looks like a human being, he has no conscience at all. I finally understand. If a man can be trusted, sows will climb trees. This child must be aborted and a waste of dog food. Or stay away from the scumbag and take care of it yourself. Otherwise the baby will be infected and become a fool sooner or later. Error 500, server error. 1500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later. That's all we know. She looked back in surprise and saw the woman combing her hair and looking at her with hatred in her tearful eyes. Who are you? The daughter of a rich family? Do you think you can get to the top without my child? Your methods are too naive. Lin Shuiao. I just ovulated on September 17th. That is, the day before yesterday. Miss Xiao, where did you get the so-called 1-month-old fetus in your belly? The man suddenly said. He clapped his hands, and the person next to him brought a stack of documents, which he threw directly under the woman. This is the information on the 13 boyfriends you have dated in the past 9 years. Are you loyal? The woman's face instantly turned pale. The man walked over in a few steps, suddenly grabbed Lin Shuiao's arm, and said playfully, Throwing yourself into my arms? The old man finally found someone smarter. Hashtag chapter 3 enemies who throw themselves into each other's arms. Lin Shuiao paused and noticed the murderous look in the woman's eyes, and immediately felt aggrieved. Brother, you're thinking too much. I'm not interested in pretty boys. Let go. The dozen or so bodyguards in black around them paused as they stepped forward, staring at the two of them with strange eyes. Oh, did the old man arrange a small pepper-shaped one this time? The man smiled slyly. You also damaged my things. How can I compensate you? Little Pepper? Lin Shuiao was so disgusted that she trembled all over and said, Young boy, it's good to be handsome, but it's not good to blackmail you. Someone broke your things. Let me go quickly. It's all a misunderstanding. I'm meddling in other people's business. Unexpectedly, no matter how hard she shook her, she couldn't get away. Instead, the man used his strength to push her into his arms. The expressions of the dozens of bodyguards nearby were even weirder. The man suddenly lowered his head and blew into her ear. Don't even think about defaulting on your debt. Then he stepped on the jade pendant on the ground and kicked it in front of Lin Shuiao. At first glance, the black jade pendant, which looked like a high-end product, fell in front of her eyes in 3 sections. Lin Shuiao was wailing in her heart and said tremblingly, How much? 3 million. Damn it. It's not true. God is going to kill me. I won't default on my debt. I'll leave you a phone number. Let me go, and I'll get a cell phone. Lin Shuiao suddenly spoke righteously. The man subconsciously let go of his hand, but saw her face look surprised, covering her mouth with one hand, pointing behind him. Handsome man, my God. Look, what is that? What? The moment the man turned his head in surprise, Lin Shuiao abandoned her high heels and rushed towards the revolving door of the hotel at a sprint speed of 100 meters, passing by and bumping into several people without slowing down. Man. He bent down and picked up the ring with a playful smile on his delicate and heroic face. Just standing there attracted everyone's attention, but after noticing his innate domination, he lowered his head in fear. Boss, do you want it? A bodyguard came over and asked with his head down. Louis Chen played with the ring in his hand and did not answer. Boss, what a strong foot. Secretary Shen, who came in the last step, couldn't help but snicker. He clearly saw that his boss had deliberately trampled the jade pendant to pieces. Ha! Louis Chen played with the silver ring. Secretary Shen noticed Louis Chen's threatening look and immediately said, Boss, are you staying in the hotel today or going back? Hotel. Louis Chen said coldly, walking towards the hotel without stopping. Where's the old lady? Don't you want a daughter-in-law? Check her out. Yes. Gu Zixuan's eyes looked outside the glass wall a second before he turned, and Lin Xueyao's slender and gentle back passed by. Hashtag chapter 4 scumbag and bitch join forces. Lin Xueyao, who was galloping all the way, went straight home. The fright of 3 million made her forget all about the wedding. However, the policeman on the road couldn't bear it and walked up to her and said, "Girl, your wedding dress has been dragged to the floor and is full of dirt." The little brother raised his head and glanced, suddenly stumbling, and his face turned red. Oh, thank you people for being such good police officers. Lin Xueyao responded. After I responded, I remembered that I had something to do. Haha, the wedding. At this time, Lin Xueyao was completely unprepared to face the scum running away from marriage. She didn't want to go back to the hotel, so she called her father tired and guilty. Without any explanation, she just emphasized that the wedding was cancelled, and then turned off her phone. After returning home, I lay lazily on the bed. As soon as the person became quiet, the sad emotions emerged again. It doesn't matter. Who care? No one can meet a few scumbags in their lifetime. I was sleepwalking before. And that bullshit Joshing design. Lin Xueyao, whose pillow was wet with tears, gritted her teeth and cursed angrily. At night, to Lin Xueyao's surprise, she clearly heard her father coming home, but she didn't find him coming to ask. The original fear suddenly turned into guilt and uneasiness. She was determined to get this matter over with as soon as possible. First of all, I have to take back the design and resign so that I can feel disgusted. The next morning, it was just 5 o'clock in the morning. Lin Xueyao stood up quietly, put on her clothes gently, and tiptoed all the way, especially when passing through her father's bedroom. She took out her clothes with great care. She thought she had not been discovered, but in fact, the door to her father's room was always open a crack, and the familiar and stalwart figure was always watching there. Joshing designed the entrance. She stood by the road, looking up at the company blankly. The resignation letter in Lin Xueyao's hand was crumpled, and she waited until work time. When there were people standing at the front desk, Lin Xueyao took a deep breath and walked in. She walked to the HR side in a hurry and said, "This is my resignation. After leaving my job, I request to take back all the copyrights of the designs I previously provided." The personnel officer was obviously aware of the gossip. He was stunned for a moment and immediately replied, "But those design companies have already put into production." "Yeah, I know, but I don't care." The personnel officer took a deep look at Lin Xueyao and said, "Let me contact the president's office first." This girl actually thought of counterattacking directly after suffering a loss. She was really courageous. Once a designer announces that he has taken back the design copyright, even if Joshing is put into production, he must take it back, modify it, or even destroy it. Otherwise, he will be in big trouble if he is summoned by the court. In this way, the loss of hundreds of thousands is light. You can't see it on weekdays. It's true that rabbits bite when they are anxious. However, since Lin Xueyao offended Joshing Design so much, it will be difficult for her to find a job as a designer in the future. It's not that Huaxing Design is powerful, but which company would dare to employ a designer who resigned in this way? At the same time, the Silver White and Loki Qian drove into the underground garage designed by Joshing. Through the windshield, you can see the two of them having an intimate affair. Zhou Yutong, who was sitting in the passenger seat, gasped repeatedly, "Husband, why do you want to come to my company today?" "Little bitch, the headquarters is coming over for inspection today. Of course I'm here to support you," Gu Zixuan said with a devilish smile. If Lin Xueyao were here, she would be shocked. Is this extremely arrogant man really the man who had been with her for 3 years and smiled as gentle as the big brother next door? Zhou Yutong was rosy and sweet. "I know my husband is the best to me." The faint arc on Gu Zixuan's lips remained. "Since you know that I treat you best, then hurry up and get the contract that the old man left with you." I don't know what the old man thinks. Even the children of the Liu family can't share it all. He actually said that he would leave 10% of the total property to a girl from the Zhou family. You know that my Shinon logistics needs to go further. Husband, why are you saying such disappointing things? Zhou Yutong forced a smile as a cold sweat broke out on his back. Gu Zixuan stopped moving and narrowed his eyes threateningly. What? That's not what you said when you came to me a month ago. I gave you the wedding you wanted, and I agreed to the humiliation you asked for Shuaiyao. Now you are talking to me in official tone. Shuaiyao, are you still thinking about that bitch? Zhou Yutong growled angrily and then said coquettishly, "Who dares not to give it to you? I snatched you away, and I was just afraid that you'd turn your back on me after taking the contract." The old man said it eloquently. "Those are the dowries for the Zhou family's girls. You are my husband. How could I not give it to you?" Gu Zixuan's complexion improved a lot. "How dare I lie to you, but I will never feed you all at once. I'm afraid you'll dump me, so this expressway bid is my sincerity. Is my husband satisfied?" Zhou Yutong twisted cutely and winked. "Hey, little bitch, you don't want to feed me, but I have to feed you." Gu Zixuan put aside his speculation and tried again. At this time, the cell phone next to him rang tirelessly. "Yes, your cell phone." "Old husband, help me get it." "Hey." Gu Zixuan took his mobile phone and turned on the amplifier directly. Zhou Yutong glared, covered his mouth, and felt even more excited. That sound could definitely let the person on the other end of the phone know that the two of them were doing something dirty. Mr. Zhou, that Lin Shuiyao wants to submit her resignation." As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Zixuan's movement stopped. A gloomy look flashed in Zhou Yutong's eyes. "Give her the phone." Hashtag Chapter 5 encounter on a narrow road. Yes. HR handed the phone to Lin Shuiyao sympathetically. "Hello." Hearing Lin Shuiao's voice, Gu Zixuan stopped suddenly. Zhou Yutong suddenly raised his voice. Husband Zixuan, so great, so. Bah! Gu Zixuan covered his phone and looked at Zhou Yutong angrily. "You're fucking crazy." "Yeah, I'm just crazy. I'm just crazy for you. I'm just." Gu Zixuan held Zhou Yutong down and kissed him forcefully, anger flashing in his eyes. After the kiss, he said, "Be good, little bitch. You know what I want. Don't play tricks on me. Clean up. The people from the headquarters will be here later." Of course I won't." Zhou Yutong pretended to be serious on his face, sweating on his back. Gu Zixuan lost interest and settled the matter hastily. He didn't even look at Zhou Yutong. His face was filled with dark clouds. Zhou Yutong gathered the clothes on his body. Resentment flashed in his eyes. It's all Lin Shuiao's fault. It's all her fault. It's all her fault. Until she heard the beeping sound, Lin Shuiao felt a little like she was in another world. The voice over there was so familiar that it made one's heart tremble. She never thought that he, who was always gentle and soft-spoken, would actually make such a rough and wild voice. "Haha, you must be an idiot." At first, I thought it was a bit embarrassing to ask for the design copyright, but now it seems that I can't work in the design industry, so I must ask for some color. That resignation? Personnel obviously heard the voice, and his eyes flashed with the gossip of watching a good show. "Please hand it over for me. I'm going back first." Lin Shuiao forced a smile while holding onto the wall, stood firm, and then slowly walked out. Along the way, almost everyone who saw her stayed for a second or two, and then pretended to take a peek as if nothing had happened. Oh my God, she still dares to come to the company. So courageous. Do you know? She was so embarrassed yesterday. Who doesn't know? He was cut off by his immediate superior. That's not necessarily true. With her looks like this, she must be a doggy. It should be said that the man has returned from his lost ways. But what is she here for? Is she planning to work under the nose of her love rival? The malicious whispers from her colleagues made Lin Shuiao's palms sweat and her body straightened up even more. Such a huge company actually made her feel like she had no place to live. She walked towards the elevator. While waiting for the elevator, she always felt like a thorn behind her, and the seconds seemed like years. Ding! The door opened, and she walked in quickly. Bang! He hit someone impartially. "Boss! Mr. Liu, are you okay?" Mr. Liu, who is so careless. Lin Shuiao screamed in her heart that it was bad. She covered the tip of her nose that was hurt by the delicate button, raised her eyebrows, and saw a pair of eagle eyes looking at her quietly, half smiling but not smiling. "Do you really like throwing yourself into someone's arms?" A low magnetic voice sounded above the head. "You're crazy," Lin Shuiao muttered speechlessly. Suddenly, everyone else looked at Lin Shuiao with the expression of a martyr. Lin Shuiao also consciously made a mistake. Suddenly, she remembered who this person was. Isn't this the creditor who was misunderstood as a scumbag? She immediately lowered her head and whispered an apology, then wanted to hide away. Unexpectedly, Lin Shuiao's arm was grabbed again, and her whole body was pulled forward uncontrollably. Louis Chen lowered his head to her ear. "Do you still want to default on your debt, honey?" Lin Shuiao's face turned pale. Gu Zixuan stood up and said calmly, "She will be the one to receive the discussion." Hashtag Chapter 6 The Escaped Little Pepper. This. Mr. Zhou from Jiaxing Design looked at his niece dissatisfied. He knew very well how his daughter slapped Lin Shuiao severely at the wedding banquet yesterday. Well, she is engaged in design. She is not skilled in business, not proficient. Huh. Louis Chen sneered. Suddenly Mr. Zhou did not dare to say anything. He just expressed his dissatisfaction with Lin Shuiao with his eyes again. The other senior executives of Jiaxing Design did not dare to be hostile to Louis Chen and could only look at Lin Shuiao critically. Kanja Yendi Nanmian Dar Shang Qingzi. 周总，你这人放在设计部就是浪费啊，还是陆总有眼光，就应该放到公关部去嘛。Lin Shuiao was so humiliated that her face turned red, and she felt like she was at the mouth of a volcano. A flash of displeasure flashed in Louis Chen's eyes. Lin Shuiao looked at the malicious looks of the people around her, thought of the 3 million debt, and thought of the grievances she received today. This bullshit relatives bullshit company will disgust you to death even if it doesn't kill you. Evil starts from the edge of the coward. Lin Shuiao did not stop and directly stepped on Louis Chen's foot. He felt the pain but did not let go of his hand. A ruthless look flashed in Lin Shuiao's eyes, and she kicked Louis Chen's vital part again. Louis Chen put away his playful smile and quickly escaped. A group of senior executives gathered around him like pugs, saying, "Mr. Liu, are you okay? And that bitch needs to be taught a lesson." Instead, a thick wall formed between the two, giving Lin Shuiao a chance to escape. We at Jiaxing Design just don't bow to the evil forces. Even a brat like you dares to command our designers at Jiaxing Design. Mr. Liu is a piece of shit. He is obviously an idiot. Boss, I will definitely support you in defeating this idiot. I am a Jiaxing employee and I am proud, so get out. Lin Shuiao yelled very arrogantly. After once again inflicting hatred on Jiaxing Design, he quickly ran outside under the stunned eyes of everyone around him. The bodyguard in black beside Mr. Liu was about to give chase, but was prompted by Louis Chen to stop. Ah, this bitch. Mr. Zhou was so frightened that he almost lost his wits. He muttered, and then bowed and apologized to Louis Chen. It's really that the company's management is not strict. Mr. Liu will atone for his sins. Atonement? I will call someone to bring her back immediately. Mr. Liu is sorry, I'm sorry. Louis Chen ignored Mr. Zhou next to him. Instead, he tugged on his collar and said with a playful smile, "This is the second time." Lin Xueran, who had successfully escaped, felt like she had finally let out a breath of bad breath. Just on the street, she laughed 3 times into the sky, causing the people next to her to look at her like she was crazy. But Lin Xueyao didn't care anymore. I also resigned from my job, just as I saw the true face of the scumbag in advance. Fortunately, I didn't find out about the cheating after getting married. If you think about it differently, at least you are not carrying the household registration of a divorced woman. Lin Xueyao's heart ached, and she gritted her teeth to comfort herself. This girl, oh, it's you again. Yesterday, you were wearing a wedding dress and running for your life. Today, you're crossing the road and blocking traffic. The traffic policeman ran over and said. He looked at Lin Xueyao's unpainted face, which was a little red. I'm sorry. Lin Xueyao bowed repeatedly. Be careful on the road. The younger brother glanced at Lin Xueyao a few times, hesitated, and took out the ticket book. Well, damn it. No. Now pedestrians are also fined. Lin Xueyao took out her mobile phone with a bitter look on her face. Brother, dear people, I don't have cash with me. Can I pay with Alipay? The little brother's face suddenly turned red and he whispered, I didn't bring my mobile phone with me. I wanted you to write a contact number. Lin Xueyao. Secretary Shen, who was in the car parked nearby, saw this scene and couldn't help laughing and sent a text to his boss in a very vivid way. Then he added, Boss, the beauty you like is very popular. Boss, yeah. Secretary Shen. Isn't the boss afraid of being robbed? Boss, oh, who dares? Secretary Shen smiled, and just as he was about to take his phone back, Louis Chen sent a long sentence for the first time. Find out her whereabouts today and report them to me immediately. Hashtag chapter 7 falling into the trap. Secretary Shen was stunned, touched his chin, and glanced inquiringly at the girl outside the car window who was wearing clear noodles but still couldn't hide her beauty. This is kind of interesting. Lin Xueyao awkwardly got rid of the slightly enthusiastic traffic policeman. Then he chuckled to himself. I am still attractive. She took a deep breath and cheered herself up when the text message ringtone on her phone suddenly rang. Lin Xueyao opened it casually, and her pupils shrank suddenly. Above is the short message sent by Guzi Xuan. 10 o'clock tonight, room 8003, waiting for my explanation. Didn't this guy get blacklisted? Explain. Explain what? Explain when you will go to bed. Lin Xueyao looked unhappy and wanted to delete the message and block it. But my fingers moved, and finally I kept it. The originally peaceful mood was disturbed by this text message. After walking on the street like a ghost for a long time, Lin Xueyao finally looked up and laughed at herself. Sure enough, I was still unwilling to give in, and still wanted to see an explanation. Not to forgive, but to put your mind at ease. Lin Xueyao mustered up the courage to walk into the hotel mentioned in the text message and hurried all the way to 8003. She stepped lightly, swiped the card, and pushed the door open. This is a suite with 4 bedrooms, 3 living rooms, and 2 bathrooms. Warm yellow lights, red wine on the luxurious coffee table that catches the eye. The large room was very quiet, and no one seemed to be there. When she was about to go to the master bedroom to take a look, she heard a sarcastic voice coming from the door. Little bitch, you are really obsessed with my husband. The sudden sound made Lin Xueyao tense up immediately. She turned around and saw Zhou Yutong warily blocking the door with his arms folded. Behind her were several tall men. Lin Xueyao gasped. Is this a trap? She looked at Zhou Yutong in disbelief. You, what do you want to do? TSK, you little bitch who wants to have a tryst with my husband. Are you still not allowed to do anything for me? Zhou Yutong came over and slapped Lin Xueyao. You bitch, you are a disaster. Do you know that you messed up my big business? What kind of person is Mr. Liu, and you dare to mess with him? And my contract was almost ruined, you bitch. As he spoke, he wanted to slap Lin Xueyao twice, but Lin Xueyao ducked down to avoid it. Lin Xueyao mocked. Oh, the man who robbed my sister. Who dares to compare with you? Isn't Mr. Liu a big shot? Why didn't you crush your Jiaxing Design to death? Zhou Yutong took a breath, and then suddenly a strange smile appeared on his face. You are so proud. Fortunately, Mr. Liu attaches great importance to talents, and I happen to be a designer who has made a name for himself internationally. In this year's Venus design competition, my Watching the Moon siren won the first prize in the competition. Besides, I am Mr. Liu's nephew-in-law, and he is willing to give me this face. So, it's okay. Moon watching siren? Lin Xueyao felt as if her ears were ringing and couldn't believe it. The moon watching siren is obviously her entry in the competition. It was originally designed to commemorate the 3rd anniversary of her relationship with Guzi Xuan. Her fingers were trembling, and her heart was throbbing in pain. You are shameless. Those clothes were clearly designed by me. It was me. Haha. Zhou Yutong suddenly leaned into her ear and whispered. Who knew? My husband got the design manuscript for me, and you, an aunt, don't even have evidence. He has been dealing with you for a month, all because of me. You want to trick me before you die, but unfortunately, you don't have the copyright to those clothes. Hashtag chapter 8 The Savior is still the wolf. You, Lin Xueyao, seemed to be struck by lightning. She wanted to question the impossibility out loud, but the events of the past 2 days had completely eroded that little bit of so-called trust. Complete hatred flashed in her eyes. Tisk, TSK, TS. Look, this is the sorrow of little people. Without a husband, no job. Even the design works. TSK, TSK, TSK. Zhou Yutong kicked Lin Xueyao hard in the chest. Lin Xueyao, what are you going to fight with me for? Lin Xueyao stared at her. Originally, I didn't want to be so cruel. Who made you so thick-skinned? You can still stay in Shanghai City even though you are like that. If you had fled far away, I would have let you go. But I didn't expect you to dare to hit the muzzle of the gun. What? Zhou Yutong didn't say much, with a fierce and vicious look on his face. Tie her up and fill her with love potion. Don't give her relief yet. Let her stay up for 2 hours before we do it. Do you hear me? Yes. Several men at the door laughed evilly. Zhou Yutong, what are you going to do? Lin Xueyao felt chills all over her body. She looked at Zhou Yutong in disbelief. This is her cousin. How could she be so cruel to herself? Zhou Yutong sneered and said maliciously, what am I going to do? Ha, I will take another video for you tonight. If you be good and leave Shanghai City honestly, I will make this video a permanent secret. But if you dare to talk nonsense outside and spoil our joshing affairs again, I guarantee that you'll become the next heroine of the online pornographic photo sect. No, it's impossible. It can't be done. Lin Xueyao reached out to grab Zhou Yutong. However, he was grabbed by the bodyguard who came over and tied to the bed with his hands behind his back. Enjoy it. No, you bastard. You are still not a human being. Do you still have a conscience? Come back. Lin Xueyao was subdued and unable to move. She looked at Zhou Yutong, who turned to leave, and at the men with malicious intentions around her. She felt cold in her bones, and she just felt hopeless. Haha, this little girl is so good-looking. No wonder her employer is jealous. Isn't that right? Pour this medicine into her quickly, get more, and have fun today. Ha, it must be so fun for some brothers. The body was tied tightly to the bed, love potions were poured into her mouth, and the dirty talk of rough men could be heard in her ears. There was also a camera not far away. Lin Xueyao's heart overflowed with unspeakable hatred. Hate, really hate. His lover betrayed him, his sister stabbed him, his project was robbed, his career was ruined, and now he is about to be gang-raped. So hateful. A teardrop fell from the corner of Lin Xueyao's eyes. Her eyes began to blur, and an unbearable heat rose up in her body. Ugh, it feels so uncomfortable. Bang, bang, bang. Lin Xueyao, who was dizzy, seemed to hear the sound of something heavy falling to the ground. After a while, she smelled a familiar and sweet scent on the tip of her nose. It was so familiar and charming that she was intoxicated. It seems to be. Hiss, don't move. You are such a clinging kitten. The hoarse and mellow voice sounded in Lin Xueyao's ears, which was extremely tempting. She felt even more numb all over her body, and she wanted to stick to him and hug him tightly. No, you can't give in. No humiliating photos taken. Lin Xueyao tried her best to stay awake. Little did he know how charming she was, with her eyes blank, her whole body pink and tender, and her struggle. The man's eyes deepened. He frowned and clasped her wrist, not allowing her to struggle and resist. Hashtag chapter 9 Unexpected Redemption. Let go, bastard. Lin Xueyao raised her head suddenly and bit it, as if she had bitten her Adam's apple. Made the man groan. Several buttons of her clothes were broken again, and there was an atmosphere of confusion and ambiguity between the two of them. The man's big palm moved downward uncontrollably, and the hot skin made people go crazy. Deadbeat. The man chuckled. No. She pushed him away tremblingly, with sweat all over her face. Her exclamation could not stop the man from moving. She wanted to escape, but the man didn't give her the slightest chance. The man's searing kiss raged, and in the silent night, only the rapid breathing of the two could be heard. The man stopped suddenly and looked at the charming girl with lowered eyebrows. He didn't want to be so abrupt, but this person was so charming that his usually confident control was shattered, and he couldn't bear it. No. Who are you? Let me go. I can give you money. The heat is like the sharpest blade. No. Lin Xueyao was so painful that she burst into tears for a moment. The man sighed lowly. In the confusion of the night, the man lowered his head again and kissed her evilly. As if they were top predators slowly savoring the delicious food, they controlled the rhythm and allowed the two of them to indulge in a sea of desire. In a daze, Lin Xueyao seemed to see a pair of cold eyes of a hunter standing at the top of the food chain. Early the next morning, Lin Xueyao was woken up by the bright sun and the banging of the door outside. She shook her head unconsciously and woke up suddenly. No lewd men and no cameras? When he lowered his head and saw a naked man sleeping next to him, his profile was so handsome that he looked like a God-given man, and he was shocked all over. Suddenly realizing what happened, he immediately looked down at himself. Sure enough, he was naked and covered in messes. Well, 2 naked lambs. As usual, Shouldn't she scream in memory of her lost steadfastness? But the aura of the person lying on the bed was so strong that she didn't dare to speak or even move for fear of waking up the strange man lying there. Ha! I can only be glad that no photos were taken. Sue ran inside and lowered his head to cover his face. She didn't dare to take a second look at the handsome man next to her. Sorry, does this count as rape? But this person seemed to be here to save people. Wait, it seems that I was hit by an aphrodisiac yesterday. Could it be that she was too proactive and had too much strength and ended up forcing her savior in one way or another? So is it possible that I am the perpetrator? Lin Shuiao wailed again. My head hurts, and I finally understand what it feels like to be fragmented after a hangover. At first glance, he seems quite handsome. She doesn't suffer. She doesn't suffer. She doesn't suffer. Trying to build herself up mentally, she ran into the cloakroom as quickly as possible, casually flipped through a set of white casual clothes and put them on. The hurried knocking on the door intensified. Lin Shuiao curiously walked to the door and looked out through the peephole. There were actually a large group of reporters standing with cameras. The last two were clearly Zhou Yutong and Gu Zixuan. Thinking of what happened to her last night, Lin Shuiao felt even colder all over, and cold sweat broke out on her back for no reason. Zhou Yutong actually called reporters, trying to kill them all. Lin Shuiao was so angry that she almost trembled. No, calm down, you can't continue to be passive. I was too naive when I only thought about resigning. As Zhou Yutong said, this is the tragedy of little people. If you want to successfully take revenge, you have to at least stand in the same position as her. Lin Shuiao looked around. Fortunately, the balcony between the deluxe suite and the suite is very close. Lin Shuiao, who had always been afraid of heights, took great courage to make a fabric rope with sheets and clothes and ran towards the opposite windowsill. The man on the bed suddenly opened his eyes, watching the figure stumble and successfully reach the opposite windowsill, and he felt relieved. The man's dark eyes were slightly complicated, and he leaned on the pillow and lit a cigarette. The sunlight falling on his naked upper body gave him a golden color, and his lean and muscular muscles were clearly visible. After taking a puff of cigarette, his thin lips that had been pressed tightly suddenly raised a slight arc. The rapid knocking and shouting outside the door made him impatient. He stood up slowly, took a shower first, put on a bathrobe, then pushed back his wet hair, poured a glass of red wine, took a sip in his hand, and then opened the door casually. As soon as the door opened, the reporters who had been waiting outside to rush and froze when they saw the indifferent Louis Chen. They never expected that just digging up gossip about a pornographic photo family would alarm Louis Chen, the president of the world-class LK business group, who had just returned to China and was backed by the Shin family, the top family in Xinjiang. Isn't this a trap for them? Who the hell gave me the information? Come forward and beat him to death. Gu Zixuan, who was standing at the back with an ugly expression, was stunned. He pushed aside the crowd and walked out, unable to conceal the shock on his face. Little uncle? Uncle? The reporters were eager to gossip, but no one dared to write. Louis Chen lazily leaned against the door, his slender fingertips lazily hooked on the transparent wine glass. His sharp eyes swept across the crowd indifferently and finally fell on Gu Zixuan. A touch of arrogance flashed across his cold face. What's the matter? The aura was so powerful that no one dared to answer the question for a while. After a while, Gu Zixuan took a deep breath before speaking. I heard that the prince of the Zhou family came to visit, and I wanted to give him a welcome surprise in a hospitable mood. These reporter friends also happened to meet me. I didn't expect to see my uncle here, so I hope you can forgive me. Oh, you knocked on the door so urgently. I thought you were here to catch someone raping you. Louis Chen said indifferently, took the phone and dialed. Asked the general manager to bring someone up. After a while, the manager hurried over with about 10 people. I was originally very excited to see the legendary boss, but when I saw the reporters gathering in the corridor, my heart skipped a beat and the veins on my forehead jumped. He ran to Louis Chen with fear and fear. President Liu, is this allowed to break in? She glanced at him lightly. No tantrums, no show-stopping threats. But the general manager, who knew President Liu's temperament well, seemed to have seen the calm before the storm and was so shocked that he broke into a cold sweat. He took a deep breath, recalled some of the solutions the hotel had had, and bowed 90 degrees to Louis Chen. I'm extremely sorry. Then he stood up and looked at Gu Zixuan and his group, returning to his elite style. After thinking for a while, he came up with his usual solution. Every guest has violated the privacy of others in the hotel. Please leave as soon as possible. In addition, I am very sorry to inform you that we will not accept you at your own hotel in the future.